Word up, yo? I'm back. I'm sure you all missed me. I'm gonna do one of these arbitrary interlude deals that I do when I uh, have miscellaneous stuff to talk about, but not no one thing warrants its own video per se, or much less a episode of one of my shows. So this probably won't be very long, but famous last words. Um, so I'm chilling here and I'm taking in this album by Tangerine Dream called Zeet, which means time. I believe this is like from 1973 or two, maybe 1972. Anyway, the reason I put it on a playlist and I've been making this incredible playlist. And basically, I've been when I haven't been at the day job or sleeping, I've pretty much been buried in research for the next few episodes. Maybe not the next episode, but after that, a multi-part thing on the bottomless well. So it kind of kept growing and growing, and I didn't realize it was going to get so out of out of bounds. But I'm pretty happy with it. What I did is I collected a bunch of albums um, off YouTube that pertain to this theme that I wanted to develop. And all the ones that there was a full album of, I added to the playlist, and I did them in order of the year the album came out. So I'm listening back to them now. Uh, so I'm still early in it, obviously, if I'm only at 1972, but I have listened to all the different parts. But what I've been trying to do is, since I compiled it and finished it, because it's albums that span 1960 to 2020, uh, when I can, like as I'm getting ready for sleep or reading or something in the background, maybe to a movie that I've seen before, I'm playing this playlist. So I'm running down this particular theme in chronological order. There are albums I selected for the theme that are not in their entirety as one like file on YouTube. So for those, I have bookmarked the playlists for them that are on YouTube, and in some cases, I'm creating playlists or taking a playlist that exists. Like, say, one album, it's got all the songs, but they're not in the correct order that they should be. So I'll just start my own playlist and arrange them in the correct sequence. So I'm ending up with quite a lot of playlists under my name. Right now, they're all private, but when I do the article or the episode, uh, I'm gonna make it all public. So you can see all the playlists for the albums, and on the playlist of the albums that are full albums in order chronologically, I in the notes I put the entire list, factoring in the other playlists as well. So you're gonna have a lot of albums, and they're in chronological order, and I've been like painstakingly trying to decide on which artists and which albums by which artists, and I've been listening to a bunch of stuff I've never heard before or haven't heard in a long time or possibly haven't heard all the way through. And then a lot of repeat listens, stuff I am more familiar with, kind of forms the backbone of it. So I've been working on that, and I don't know when it's going to drop. I was going to try to do another Bottomless Well on Friday, like with my weekly schedule. But I'm not sure. It just depends. It's Tuesday now, so a pretty good chance I might have an episode ready then. But it's not going to be on this project. This project still is going to take several days more of research. I need to take notes on these albums because I don't know all this stuff inside out, and I don't want to make any errors, and I want to kind of contextualize this because basically it's a subgenre of music, and I'm going to kind of follow it over a 60-year haul. So I picked out a number of the albums. They have to fit several criteria. One is, they're part of that theme. One is that they are, in some way significant to the development of that subgenre. But another caveat is that I have to enjoy the album. So a lot of times it's my preferred album out of several possible albums that I could slot in. So, it's a personal list, it's my top list, but it does hit all the keynotes of this subgenre. So now that I've got, I'm curious, maybe, probably not. Uh, I'll be working on that, and maybe I'll be able to put up part one of it because it's going to take a few parts. It'll be a lot of talking. So I really want it to be a quality product. So far, the first two episodes of the Bottomless Well have done really well. People like them, and basically, I kind of have my shit together a lot more than I did on music videos. So I want to continue that quality. So I'm not going to be as focused on quantity. So I've been trying to finish up research for another video that I could do in the interim here this week. And that video will be coming up next. I don't know if I'll shoot it tonight and upload it in a day or two or what, but if I finish this one, I'll upload it tonight. But that video is a Blue Review episode. So getting near the 50th official 50th episode of Blue Review. So I don't know if I'm going to do something special for that or just say, hey, it's the 50th episode. So anyway, those are projects that I've been working on pertaining to the channel. I've also been following a lot of political stuff, watching a lot of stuff on YouTube. In that vein, I've gotten back on my Twitter account and I've made a few kind of short, tentative kind of posts indicating, my support of certain folks, figures in left-wing politics that I respect, that I think are in the rare category of folks that haven't sold out yet, that haven't overtly disappointed us or lied to us yet. I'm mostly journalists. I think there's one politician in there, and the rest are journalists. So I'll probably be dipping a little more into that as time goes on. I think Twitter would be a good venue for that. I'm sure I'll be attacked from all sides. If it gets to be too much, I'll just stop doing it or deactivate my account for a while or whatever. I don't need the constant negative energy, but I kind of want to take a stand on some things, and I am going to do some videos in that vein on here in the near future, as I've said before. I've done a couple like that here. But I'm going to go, like, as Jimmy Dore says, go scorched earth on some of this stuff. So I'm kind of like building up to it slowly. I think Facebook is kind of a lost cause for me expressing my socio-political views. It's gotten to where that's about all I post now on my wall, and I rarely post on my wall, but maybe about once a day I'll post something, one or two things that are relevant. And really, basically, I get no feedback, negative or positive. Amazingly, I'm not losing friends, which usually happens when I'm doing this, usually a lot, just for daring to speak about certain sacred cows. That's not happening, but I also get the feeling part of it is because just no one's reading my stuff or following me anymore. And the ones that are not really into that particular subject matter. So I appreciate the few people who do read or like or appreciate what I'm posting there, but it's not really personal stuff about me. The personal stuff about me usually gets the most attention from like my hardcore friends on there, but I'm trying to get back into doing less of that. And I'm doing it here instead with these videos. The last two kind of soul bearing videos I did were pretty heavy, kind of raw and a bit open, but I had to kind of try to be brave and use this as a tool. That one of the reasons I started doing it was not just a creative outlet, but also got therapeutic value. So I've gotten encouragement from my newer therapist. Things are going really well with her. My newest peer support counselor is incredible, and she's going to take me to run some errands tomorrow. uh, and I am getting on some government benefits that are going to help out some. At least I'll be on it for a few months. So I'm basically trying to catch up on all my bills now that I have a decent sum in the bank, but it's almost all spoken for. So I'm hoping my eBay store continues to have an uptick, but it did last week, and that really helped a lot. This week though, it's kind of gone down again, a little more each day. It gets slower, um, and the orders are usually very small. So like I have 5 or 6 I'm gonna mail tomorrow, and that's all I've got in front of me. I don't have any that are to be mailed next week yet or anything. So these are all going to go out either on time or a day or two early. Um, have been getting more complaints again, the kind I used to get a lot about, I haven't heard from you. It's taking a long time. Why isn't this shipped yet? And the thing about the eBay thing is that, first of all, people who are impatient like that are really fucking annoying. But the other thing is, I mean, I don't mind them being impatient. I understand that, but to actually have the audacity, kind of, to send me a personal message and act like I'm violating some promise I made to them when it clearly says on my page how many days it takes me for handling time for shipping, and that's because of my day job and other concerns. So I only can get up to the post office once, maybe twice a week during the weekdays, and I'm not going there on weekends because they close. They got one on Saturday and they're closed on Sunday, and then also closed on the holiday. So I have to I used to have to reiterate this a lot to people, and a lot of times they had a really nasty attitude, but sometimes I had a nasty attitude. I mean, I was too like holier than thou about it, but now I'm trying to just say, look, this is ideal, because you have to kind of point out to them what your policies are. If you don't affix it to a particular entry of something you're selling, I have to a lot of them, but I haven't been consistent and put the same spiel on everything. A lot of dealers do that, and I really need to do that to avoid some of these misunderstandings. The uh, parameters of what I can do are stated clearly on my eBay homepage as a seller, not as much detail as I have with the ones that are appended to the entries, the listings. But they're on there, and people just don't see them, don't care, don't understand. I don't know. I mean, I get it. You need your order something, and you don't like research the seller or whatever, um, and then you expect you see a certain date that it should be to you by, and you don't. You know, the thing is, a lot of these people, uh, and I wish I was set up this way too, I guess in a way, but um, they can print their own labels, mailing labels at home. It's pretty easy to do. When Kelly lived here, she did it for some of her stuff she mailed out. I just haven't got to that point yet. But when you do that, when you print that stuff out through eBay, that is your shipping date. So it could still lay in your house and I've had this happen to me for things I've ordered. It could still lay in your house for a week and say it's shipped, and you're thinking, damn, and it hasn't even gone to the post office yet. So mine, I actually mark them as shipped and enter the information and the tracking number when it's actually at the post office. I've just said goodbye to it and it's on its way, which I think is a little more honest and stuff. But since I have more handling days than some of these people, um, it just depends on what you get out of it. For a long time, people were not complaining because, so much was happening toward the end of last year and the beginning of this year that people were finally getting it that, the landscape of our lives has really changed post COVID, post election, uh, I don't know, post apocalypse. And that's coming next. But so people were being really cool and understanding, and then usually they would occasionally they would say, hey, do you have an idea when this is going to ship? And my first instinct is to get defensive because I caught so much grief over it when I first started doing this. People were just very cruel and not particularly socialized individuals, but that's kind of par. I'm selling odd collectibles and stuff, and being an odd collector myself, I mean, I know that a lot of us are not socialized. We don't have social skills. I do, but I mean, I've kind of had to struggle to obtain them over a lifetime. So some people are more like me. I've got to have it now. I don't care about COVID. I don't care about the postal delay. I don't care about Trump and Biden. I don't care about any of that. I just want my stuff. And you're just like, wow, Jesus Christ. So, um, but anyway, that kind of subsided for a while. It was very nice and peaceful, and I could kind of mail stuff within my stated range uh, of handling time. But just in the last few days, like I'm waiting for more orders, hoping for more orders, and I'm adding a few more items onto the store slowly. And I get this kind of notification. I'm like, wow, I hope this is a sale. And sure enough, it's someone. Yeah, when are you shipping this? Or they pull the date on you. They go, this that I shipped on and then they cite the date that they purchased. This that I purchased on whatever still isn't shipped. And I have to say, well, it states that I ship 4 to 5 business days from the time of payment. So some of these people, they're ratcheting up the time from the time they ordered it, bought it. But a lot of these people don't pay me immediately. Some of them take a few days, but they're thinking I bought it, so I need it in 3 days from the time I bought it. It's like you have to fucking pay for it before I'm going to ship it to you. And then another thing is they, um, are kind of like, uh, I paid for this on such and such day. Okay, so that's fair, but like I said, I've tried to make clear the days that it takes me to do handling. Usually I can defer these. The last few times that have looked like it's going to be a problem or a complaint, I've just said, look, I've got the day job, elsewhere on my page. I state these are my handling times. And the thing is, sometimes people really end up embarrassing themselves by pressuring me so hard because when I do mail it, even with the mail situation being wonky in certain parts of the country and for certain items and certain kinds of mailings, for whatever reason, I'm blessed that when I ship this stuff out from the post office, I'm shipping it media mail, so that's supposed to be 2 to 8 business days. Uh, and it usually gets to them 2 business days without fail. And so I actually end up getting a lot of good reviews. People are like, man, super fast shipping. And so some of the people are like, why haven't you shipped it yet? And I'm like, I'm shipping it tomorrow. And then they're like, ah. So then I ship it and then boom, it's there the next day or the day after that. Some of them come through and then kind of, acknowledge that they were a little hasty and give me a good feedback. And then some don't give me any feedback. One guy was dogging me for ages. And, it felt like ages. I guess it felt like ages for him. And it was just like, when he paid for it fell near the end of a work week. So that exempted Saturday, Sunday as business days. And, early the next week, he's just chomping at the bit and pressuring me. And so I end up mailing it still a day earlier than eBay entitles me to because you can set your handling time. And so I've set mine. So eBay doesn't tell me I have to mail it until 5 business days from the time of payment. But often I mail it earlier than that now. So anyway, I mailed it like on the last day I needed to mail it to this guy, and then it came to him like the next day, and he was kind of like in his last email was kind of like, well, if it gets to me, I'll give you a good review. I just really want this item, and this has been a few weeks, no feedback from him yet, much less positive. So but that's rare. Most people are thankful. Most people are cool. I mean, the cases where people drive you crazy are in the minority, but the minority of assholes are always louder by far than the majority of cool people and appreciative customers. And I've got a lot of customer service experience, so I can kind of diffuse these situations. It just took me a while to get used to people sending me like private messages and just people I don't know. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they look like. I don't know where they live. Out of the blue, and they're just talking to me in this thoroughly nasty fashion. And from my years on the internet, my immediate response is usually "fuck you" and a block. Because early on the internet, I took a lot of abuse. Part of that was because of politics, because I first got on the internet regularly at my own house in 2004. So I was kind of late on that. I had been using the internet at friends' houses and library and stuff, and emailing stuff occasionally, like things I wrote, I would email to the publisher. Um, and cruising the internet was the easiest thing to do on the computer. Back then, I was really bad on the computer, really illiterate. Um, so 2004, I was like, I jumped right into some of these sites, and I was like super outspoken about hating G.W. Bush and the Iraq War and all the stuff that was going on. And man, I took a lot of beatings for it, but I was pretty defiant, and things are a little different now. Yeah, I mean, then that whole landscape has changed so much. The internet and the political sphere of the internet and the way people handle things as things keep getting more unbelievably worse for more and more Americans. Uh, People's reactions are hard to predict. I mean, I I react in the way I think a thinking left wing person would, which is we need to pressure the government to give us what is ours. And this is an unprecedented crisis in America, and y'all aren't handling it like that at all. And the change of figureheads hasn't changed anything. Some things are just as bad, some things are worse, some things are slightly better. But speaking truth to power is it's risky, and it can be scary. The repercussions, especially now where everything is surveilled, and I mean, it's hard. It's hard to imagine a real revolution, either physical or mental, psychological, happening in America anytime soon. I feel like the progressives are becoming retrogressives, and I don't know. Maybe America's devolving. The rest of the world has treated their COVID situations with much more compassion and clear thought. And the whole one of the pivots of the election last year was that once we get rid of Trump, we'll be doing the same. But unfortunately, as far as passing legislation and benefits and helping on a mass scale, we've had uh, one bill, and it's a failure. It didn't. They did not push for the things that they had promised, and not nowhere near the benefits any other uh, industrialized country has right now. As far as basic income pay for being out of work, unemployment pay, uh, universal health care, a raising of the minimum wage from a paltry 7.25. Remember, G.W. Bush was the last guy who raised it, not Obama. Obama never raised the minimum wage. He never fought for the minimum wage. Bernie had been fighting for it, but now it seems like he's kind of throwing his hands up in the air and giving up on all of us. That's fine, and then some of the progressives elected to Congress really get hardcore about this stuff even before COVID, but now they're like backing off. They're not pushing for it to be included in a bill. They're not forcing the vote with the leverage they have. That's a whole nother video. Anyway, but I mentioned a lot on these kind of videos where I stop and I can't take account of what's going on in me and what I'm thinking about, what I'm doing, because it is impacting our lives. If the minimum wage had doubled as some of us were hoping and pushing for, not as many as we thought. If that had come through on this relief bill that just passed, it would have made my life quite a lot easier right now because I'm in direct sales. So my hourly pay is a bit less than the corporations that, through people like Bernie pushing them, have gone way up to their hourly pay, like $13 to $15 an hour. I don't make anywhere remotely that much. I make above minimum wage, which again is 7.25, but not a whole lot above it. And so I'm expected to do commissions to make up for it. But they're too erratic, they're too unreliable. It just, especially since the COVID thing and since the economy downturn, it's really hard. Not as many people are coming in and busting out for $1,000 phones and upgrades, and it's picked up some, and I've had some success. It's usually not a lot, and then my hours got cut there. last week, like officially cut for the first time in a while, right when I was kind of getting to work and working, a good 4 days a week, solid, um, and my health was improving, etc. Uh, but I don't know. Then they cut my hours because the payroll shrank. It was supposed to have shrunk in January, but it finally like caught up with us because we had an interim district manager who kind of just was just throwing hours at us, and I was like trying to get caught up with my bills and waiting for the stimulus money that was or wasn't going to come and did come, but was $600 short of what we were, you know, blatantly promised, and um, so it's hard. I got my taxes back, and it was a decent amount. It wasn't huge, but it wasn't small. And now I'm just allocating it for bills. So I've been saying for quite a while, maybe in these videos, I'm not sure, but definitely to people I know, that March was, going to be hell for me financially, and April was going to be better. So we're 6 days into April, and yes, it is better than it was in March, but only a little bit. So I'm not going to lose everything or anything anytime real soon. But I am behind on some of my credit cards, so that's going to cause me credit issues, and I don't want to deal with collection agencies. And I'm just trying to keep up with my basic bills and keep them at least only one bill behind. Some of them I'm completely caught up on, but some I'm behind a month, and I'm just waiting for this money to come in. So the stimulus money that I gained is in the bank, but unfortunately, I have to pay a property tax every year, and my property tax it's almost as much as the stimulus check that I got deposited. So if it had been 2000 as we were told, then it would have helped a lot. A lot of this stuff would have helped people, regular people like me, my friends, people I know online, people I know in real life, all across America. But we're kind of on our own now. So, but anyway, for my next video, it won't be more politics or any woe is me kind of stuff. But I am going to do a blue review, and I've just wrapped up the viewing and the reviewing necessary for it. So look out for that sometime in the near future. Then I'm going to drop these music videos about music, and especially this big project I've been working on for the bottomless well, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's kind of, once I get into doing something like that, and I want to make everything as good as it can be, I get kind of all consumed by it, and it takes, like I start working on it, then it's 6 or 7 hours later. I forgot to eat, I forgot to sleep, Um, but anyway, it's been an okay week, but it's only Tuesday. So there's always time for it to improve or worsen. Um, but, I haven't had any time or energy, made the time or energy to do much on Flickr Street this week. I did get more back into it last week. And, I've been jotting down a lot of notes, but the next steps I need to make need to be much bigger steps with the website and such. And I just am dragging on it. So these videos are easier for me to wrap up and post and get immediate feedback from, and a good outlet. And I hope you guys are liking them too. I appreciate the support and subscriptions and comments, and thanks for watching. I'm gonna wrap this one up, and after this interlude, my next video will probably be a blue review soon. So anyway, I'll see you then.